Welcome back to episode 2 of Stronger Together. Today we have a couple fine gentlemen from Leaving the Sideline here with us, and we're going to spend a little time finding out just some stuff about their organization, what they're all about, and what they can offer you guys if you're so inclined to reach out. So we have Rick and Mike. If you guys want to introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about who you guys are.
I'm Mike Rathbun. I'm the executive director of Leaving the Sideline.
I'm Richmond. I'm the director of operations for Leaving the Sideline.
Awesome. And do you guys have any kind of military connection that brought you here?
Yeah, I retired after 21 years, 2019, as a Chief Warrant Officer 3.
I retired in April of this year with 23 years of service as a Chief Warrant Officer 4.
Nice. So you guys, did you meet in the service, or is it you guys meet out of the service?
Yeah, I had to carry him along for a few years in the service.
Yeah?
Make sure he was doing, to get stuff done right.
Yeah.
And how'd that work out?
I ended up promoted pretty fast and retired. It was great.
So, Leaving the Sideline, what are you guys? Where do you start, and what do you guys do?
In 2000, when COVID became a very large part of our life, it was Memorial Day weekend. My best friend, who I did the buddy join the Army together, and you get stationed together. We both did 21 years, and he and his family were getting close to transitioning out of the military. He had that call from a company. They gave him a job. They pulled the at-will clause, and he still had roughly 35 days in the service. He just sold his house. Him and his wife kind of catastrophized a little bit too fast, and he called me and said that he needed my help to get him a job, and I worked for Waste Management, and I still do today. So I said, yeah, that'll be easy. We have opening positions. I got him calmed down the following day. He was supposed to come over for barbecue, and my hands were deep in the grease trap trying to clean it up. My phone rang. I missed the call, and then a few minutes later, I heard a single shot fire. And it's important to me that we do more than just sit on our butts, watch people struggle, watch people go through chaotic times, and ultimately take their own life because they feel like they're alone. So we founded Leaving the Sideline with our founding pillars of community, camaraderie, compassion, and we're really targeting active duty veterans, first responders, and their dependents, because we've all been to battle, but our dependents have had to go through that struggle as well, and they're often forgotten. They're left behind, or the Gold Star family, they're left to fend for themselves. And that day, I made a promise to a 10-year-old boy that this would never happen to another family again, and I was sorry that I wasn't there when his father needed me.
Yeah, that's it's tough. I know that in the times that we've been doing this, we've met a lot of people, in very similar situations to you. And when that cry for help comes, that when they're in that place, that unescapable place in their own mind, sometimes it's just as Rod put it last week, it's stretching time. It's being available to make the time to just get them through that one moment, and then it'll generally pass. But we can't individually always be there, and the purpose of your organization, a lot of other organizations, and what we're trying to do here is collectively come together so that there are numbers. So it's not just one place or one number that we can call them, but there's a bunch of resources out there for people to connect with.
Absolutely.
And have the opportunity to just stretch time.
And luckily, in the short time we've been in existence, we've had 565 veterans that had an active plan to commit suicide, and dependents for that matter. And we were able to intervene, act, motivate, find the root cause of their problem, create resolution, and then we did follow up to make sure they felt supported beyond that one incident.
That is awesome. And, can you kind of walk me through that process with you guys when a veteran calls in crisis? How do you guys engage?
I let Rick answer that question because he's actually directing that piece of it.
Yeah, so it's kind of a two-way street. So for guys like me and Mike, having a lot of years of doing what we did, there's a lot of people that know us. I've had the same phone number for over a decade now, so it gets passed off. So it's kind of a hit and miss. I'll get phone call on my cell phone, or we'll get reached out through Facebook and Instagram, things like that, and then we just start the process of going through there and making sure that somebody from the 3 or 4 of us that actually monitor that on a day-to-day, that have it set to our phones, and one of us is responding and then somebody else is doing a follow-up. So we try to share that amongst the core group that does that. So even if somebody calls my cell phone and they talk it through with me, then I make sure that I pass that off so that I get somebody else to do it. Because the burden, and it's not a burden, I shouldn't say it in that way, but the amount of stress that comes onto one person from dealing through that and trying to do that all the time, it will wear and it changes, and it kind of puts your relationships with your loved ones and everybody else in it. So we've kind of developed this thing where we often pass off back and forth to make sure that there's always somebody being able to do it. So you're not on the phone for 5 hours, 6 days in a row, talking to this person through that significant event and going through it, right? I'll be on there I'll do it a day, and then Mike will jump in, and then one of our guys down in another team member we got down in Alabama, he'll jump in. But it's constantly doing that cycle and constantly doing follow-ups and then linking them in with the other resources and some other organizations we have out there, trying to get them through that stuff and figure out what it is.
And a lot of times we'll show up at their doorstep.
Yeah.
I like
Determine what the actual determine what's pushing them. Yeah. If it's something that we've experienced in the past, we listen first.
Right.
But a lot of times we can share success stories where somebody thought this problem was their own problem, that nobody else could possibly understand what they're going through, and share some success of how we've been able to resolve that. And then obviously take the means of acting out on their ideations away.
Yeah. So when a veteran or a first responder or even a dispatcher for emergency response reaches out to us, we kind of developed our thing where we pass off to each other. So we make sure that we're not overloading one of our team members onto it, also managing and taking care of the person in crisis, and then aligning the resources with that, right? Oftentimes we found out, sometimes people just need somebody to talk to and listen to.
Right.
Finances is a big driver of a lot of concerns and a lot of risks for people. So linking people in with, especially if they've served before, linking them in with VA or VFW personnel that can help them with the VA process to do VA claims to get maybe a little bit more money back into their household. We got some partnerships where we've used First Command in the past that had some financial people being available to help people, coach them through financial management on it. We've used resources to help people get jobs, to secure stuff. So it's kind of whatever we need to do for that person and whatever that person needs, we come in the background and we kind of try to figure it out. And I can't over stress though that there's not a huge staff for us. So the money that gets donated to us that we generate for Leaving the Sideline, there's nobody that's getting paid for anything. We are immediately turning around. It's $1 in is $1 out. So it's going for something. And it's you'll see it, and we've seen it, and we've seen a lot of peaks and a lot of growth over the last few months and really the last couple of years. In the last few months, we've had a lot of peaks and stuff. And bringing some guys on, doing social media posts, getting them more of a footprint out there, and kind of what that means to the universe, right? Connecting, we found it's pretty easy to connect with the older generations because we kind of know what they've always known and done. Guys in my generation, your group, they're facts and numbers, kind of want to see the math type of people.
Right.
But it has been a challenge connecting with that younger demographic, right? The guys that grew up at the end of OIF, the end of OEFs, the down spiral of Iraq and Afghanistan, and that generation that grew up with, a cell phone from the time they were in high school, had the Facebook accounts. Like they're probably some of the hardest to connect with, but they're also often overlooked in a lot of cases because they don't know how to reach out and to express themselves and do it. They just run to a keyboard and kind of hide in there. So it's really hard to connect to those guys and make sure that you're getting the message and having that interaction with them, because I hate to say that they're like from another universe or a decade, but they kind of are to us. You know?
They're living in a digital world that we didn't know.
And luckily we got Kelly Brown, who he has that capacity to connect with anyone.
Nice.
He's a marketing expert. He's been digging into details. Does a lot of background research, and he's totally reinvented our social media streaming and actually ensuring that the target audience that we're trying to support and provide help to know that the resource is there, that we're always there. He's constantly communicating with, posts, comments, questions, and our outreach has gotten much better than it was years prior. But the ultimate goal is one suicide is one too many.
Right.
There's a lot of people that still fall into the 22 a day. If I'm just one of the 22, then I'm not going to be missed. And my argument with veterans when they talk to me about 22 a day compared to one is one too many, I said, how many people in your family is it okay to commit suicide?
Right.
How many people would you be okay with watching them take their own life? And that answer is always zero.
Right.
So we got to change the verbiage. We got to change the narrative and start pushing people to understand that 22 a day is not even an accurate stat. It's 32 to 37, depending on the state. And if we put out a stat like that, then people feel like they can fall within the number.
Right.
And if we talk one is one too many, there's value in your life. You may not see it, you may not feel it, and it may not be evident for others to see. But we're gonna find that value. We're gonna get you reconnected to the place you want to be, and you're destined for something more than self-inflicted harm.
Nice. One of the things that I'm finding refreshing here is you guys are very much, boots on the ground in the trenches. You're getting involved. And that is, a lot of organizations, they stand on the outside, and you guys are actually getting involved, and then you're using other organizations as resources to follow through with that involvement. And I think that's powerful. And by building a team with the different members that you're putting together so you can reach different demographics and different markets, I think is really going to be fruitful for you in the future. It's going to be exciting to watch you guys grow. I know that, we originally made contact with you, as I mentioned to you earlier, just over a year ago. And I can't even remember what first brought you to my attention, but, I really liked the Leaving the Sideline. I like getting up off your ass and going out and doing something, not just sitting there as a spectator. And that's very much what I got from your original message. And it sounds like that's what you guys are doing, is you're actually getting out there and you're being involved.
Well, it's funny because the social media challenge, 22 push-ups a day for 22 days. And Hillary Butler, he's a alumni from the Seattle Seahawks and the Denver Broncos Super Bowl championship team. He's one of our original founding members. I saw him doing push-ups, and I said, and at that point in time, I was mourning the loss of my really close friend. And I got on his live feed, and I said, Hillary, you're not doing anything to help anybody. All you're doing is make yourself stronger. And you got people that are watching, hoping and praying that you nominate them to do 22 push-ups a day for 22 days so they can say that you picked them. End of the day is it's not creating any awareness. It's not helping anybody. All it is you're making yourself stronger when other people are struggling. I said, if you're serious about, preventing suicide or PTSD awareness, join me and help me. And he did.
That's awesome. That was great. So you guys talk about, fundraising and dollar in, dollar out. It's important. How can people get involved and do some different things with your organization? I know that you guys have mentioned coffee talk. You had different things you can do at coffee houses with music and maybe a beverage here and there.
So we will post events pretty much monthly or quarterly. We're trying to right now. I'm working with LE from Puget Sound Taps and several other small business owners. We're also working with the city of Lacey to have a Music with a Cause is the name of the event. It's going to be a 6-concert music series, 2 bands every third Saturday of the month. They will be on Pacific and Lacey Boulevard, right where that little train station playground is.
Okay.
We're going to have Red, White, and Brew, where we either will be at Top Rung Brewery or Puget Sound Taps, and where we'll have food trucks and cornhole and just an opportunity where people can come in, find their community, meet new people, network, develop that community camaraderie, compassion. I've had a lot of Gold Star wives that have lost their husbands to suicide come and really challenge us on, are you really about what you say you are? Are you really going to do what you say you're trying to do? And every time I say, you tell me what you need me to do. I'm not a words guy. I'm more of about the deeds.
Okay.
So deeds, not words. I will tell you that I'm committed to creating that resolution for these families that lost their loved ones. We have a trauma fellowship group, and every other Thursday, starting January 19th, those that want to come to Lacey Veterans Hub are welcome to come in, and it's basically like a group healing session where we talk about the challenges that are going on in our lives and looking for other people that might be able to share best practices for resolution. And really, that's just the things that we're doing right now, but there's bigger and bigger things that we're working up to.
Good. I like it. And I like what you said about the Gold Stars. The Gold Stars are extremely important to us. You know, the sacrifice that they endured is, you know, unimaginable in a lot of cases. And, you know, there's nothing that I personally and we organizationally would not do for a Gold Star family. Or they are everything. So
I'm 100% with you. That those, unfortunately, the people that are not with us anymore, they raised their right hand. They swore to serve and defend our nation. It is the very least we can do for their families.
absolutely.
Yeah, but that's the same that we have to look at when we talk about changing the narrative from 22 a day.
Correct.
Is that same compassion, that same drive that we give and we look at and we treat with the Gold Star families because they deserved it and they're due that. That's the same that we deserve to give to every one of the veterans, right?
Right.
Because at the end of the day, we're a country we haven't drafted since the war for a long time now, right? But it's the sons and daughters, right? That our military is made up of the sons and daughters. And I was very fortunate, like Mike. We were very fortunate to have the great experience to lead the sons and daughters of this country and be kind of entrusted with that very precious resource that this country has. And you carry that when you're in there, right? That's your resource. That's the most precious and valuable resource that we have, are the people that stand in that formation. Those are the sons and daughters, the mothers, the fathers, the aunts, and the uncles. But they don't stop being that when they get out and they transition out of the military. So we shouldn't stop and think that we don't need to apply that same thing to it. So 22, 37, there's not a number that you can say that's going to be acceptable, right? So we got to really change that narrative so that one is too many, and approach it with that same kind of mentality and drive that you mentioned for the Gold Star families. Because what are we to tell somebody that their battle that they left over there that they're still carrying here isn't worth us being there for, and that their family still doesn't deserve that same amount of support?
Right. That's good. We kind of, you know, tiptoe around social media a little bit. You know, social media is a very powerful way to get word out, get messages out. You know, how can people find you guys on social media? Where are you guys at? How can they connect?
So we're on Facebook. We have Facebook. It's at at Leaving the Sideline. Instagram at Leaving the Sideline. We're at platform X, I think, is what it is now.
Twitter.
The artist formerly known as Twitter, I think. We're at Leaving the Sideline. Basically, any source of social media, if you look up Leaving the Sideline, you can find us on there. LinkedIn, all of that. We are going through and relaunching, as we talked about earlier, we're kind of relaunching some of these. Our Facebook has been very consistent, Instagram. Some of them we're having to relaunch and relearn how to do things on there because we've had some issues with passwords and stuff like that onto our account. So we are relaunching. So there will be a couple of different accounts you'll see potentially as we're going through the deactivation and activation of the new ones on like X and Twitch and things like that. But Facebook, there's only one Leaving the Sideline on Facebook. We're on there every day. Kelly is literally Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays posting a motivational Monday thing, a midweek hump day post, and then a Friday close out the week post. Each one of those is a different post trying to go after a different demographic. As we lead up to events, we'll post 3 or 4 times a week, maybe twice a day, getting up into the events. But we're on about every social media platform. You can go out there. We have our website. It's leavingthesideline.org. Go on the website. Everything's there for it. And we're continuously going through and remodeling. I'd say remodeling the website, revamping it, always trying to change it and to go. I will up front tell you, our Facebook is very happy and uplifting compared to some of the stuff that you'll see on our actual website.
Okay.
Our website, just because it's purposely built like that, because more of the older demographic goes to the website, looks at it, sees it. So it does have a little bit more of a kind of a gloomier tech connection with a lot more stats and numbers and facts in the background. Our Facebook is a little bit more upbeat and stuff like that, trying to connect again and balance out those demographics that you have to make sure that we're trying to connect to everybody so that we can ensure that we are getting that message to everybody.
Right. One of the other things that we discussed briefly as we were setting up is you guys are considering your own podcast. Is that something that you guys want to share a little bit about? Or
Yeah, so we want to launch a podcast called Change the Narrative. We're going to bring a different perspective of struggle, challenges, things that we're going to try our best not to, for somebody that's listening, to go down the road of remembering bad times. But we're going to talk about, cognitive therapy, like the ABCs of cognitive therapy, what you can do to kind of change the thought. Okay, so I went through the situation, and a lot of people will have self-blame. They'll have survivor's guilt, so they'll be blaming themselves for something that they didn't see, that they didn't act to, and unfortunately they lost one of their fellow service members, and they carry that with them. I did, and I carried a lot of guilt that I was still around, and these people had children. I was just a single guy, and just opportunities to share ways of healing is really the goal of this, and also a little bit of banter.
right.
We got Rick, and he has the best smelling beard in probably all of Washington State. Strawberry. But it's let's have some laughter, let's have some tears, let's be real, let's be consistent and honest about the way we feel. And a lot of podcasts that I watch, they're very protective of their image, and I don't think that that's necessarily what we need. It's something that we need: sincerity, we need love, and we need some sort of way of portraying that so that there's a connection between the listener and the host of the podcast.
Nice. Yeah, you guys both are very obviously passionate about what you're doing, and I can sense that it's heartfelt and things that you're saying, and I definitely appreciate that. Feeling blessed right now that you guys came in and are spending some time with me. So as we get ready to close this out, is there anything you guys would like to share? Is there any message that you would like to put out there?
Yeah, if you're listening and you're you're struggling, reach out. I know it's not comfortable. It's not something that is enjoyable to admit that you have a struggle in your life. But I'm not judging you. I've had my own struggles. Rick won't judge you. Essentially, what we're trying to give back to you is the community that you left. We're trying to give you a purpose, a direction, and the motivation, that, you know, the definition of leadership in the Army. And you know, the single most important thing that you can do is, if you're thinking about somebody, they're on your mind, call them, text them, let them know that you're thinking about them, because that one text might be the difference between here today and not here tomorrow.
Right.
And change the narrative. One suicide is one too many.
Right. I like it.
I think for me, you gotta, if you're going through and you're trying to figure this out and you're trying to do it alone, I promise you, there is not an answer that you're gonna find in the bottom of a whiskey bottle and bottom of a pill bottle. There is no answers you're gonna find there except for more sorrow and heartbreak. So you gotta, as hard as it's gonna be and as uphill of the struggle as it is, you gotta reach out and have help. You ask for the help so that people can give you the resources. Because there's no such thing as that you're worth more dead than you are alive. That's not it, right? We gotta do that. We gotta get past that. We gotta change the narrative to where one is too many. We have to focus on that. We have to come at this and remember that the veterans that are going through this, these are the sons and daughters of this country that chose to protect us and defend us. And we owe them more than just looking at them while they're going through it on the side of the road.
Wow.
You know, so just like Mike said, if you're thinking about that person, then take the time to action that thought and call that person. But for the veterans that are going through it, there's no answers in the bottom of a bottle. There ain't none. It's just sorrow. We got to get out there and help those guys more on that.
Right.
Then again, we're not just veterans, active duty service members.
No.
First responders, dispatchers, dependents.
Yeah.
If you have a story to tell, I have an ear to listen.
Yep. I think that's one thing that I would kind of bring to the forelight, right? When you talk about first responders, everybody lumps them in there. It was within the last 5 months, we learned that the dispatcher that picks up your 911 call, they're considered admin. They don't even get the same resources available to them as a first responder.
Oh,
But they're the first person on the phone and they're the last person on the phone with you. But they're an admin to our first responders. They're not even viewed in the same thing for the same resources available.
doesn't seem right.
It doesn't, right? And so that's, we actually changed what we were going after and looking at that. So I would tell people, you know, the more that we can bring up to that attention of that, there's something that can be actioned inside of, realize it's outside the veterans, talking about just veterans and stuff, but those first responders, those are a lot of the people that veterans call on. When they call 911, they're getting them. But they're not giving anything to us. So whatever we can do to help raise some awareness and be able to change some resources available to those dispatchers, I think that's got to be something that we look for. I know that's a personal goal for me to take on in 2024 is how do we bring that to attention and get these guys some resources that they need.
And that's good because, we are veteran-based organizations, but we also live in these communities and we live with people that aren't necessarily veterans, and they have to be equally as important to us because one day that might be the ear that we need to lean on. And so we need to make ourselves available to them as well. So it's community, building something strong together. It's about making a difference. I really like your guys' direction. I like where you're going visually and organizationally. And I'm very much looking forward to spending more time with you and doing some things, coming out, supporting your events, supporting your organization, and helping in any way I can to help you guys build. So absolutely want to keep it in here. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Okay. You guys were awesome. And I'm going to close it out with, if you guys want to support these gentlemen in their organization, remember leavingthesideline.org. Through there, you can link to their social media and find out more about them as an organization. If you have the time and you're in the area when they're putting on events, go check them out. Go support them. You know, if nothing else, you know, throw them a donation so that they can do something with that dollar in, dollar out. That's money well spent in any community. So, you know, check them out, give them your time, and let them know you're out there.
And if you're looking for merchandise, I'll just put this shout out there is if you go to jackmfd.com and you order merchandise, your purchase of a t-shirt, a sweatshirt, a hat, whatever, 10% of that order goes back to the organization. So if you're looking to donate, but you'd like, you know, an opportunity to have some of our merchandise, just go to jackmfd.com.
Tell you what, when you make strawberry beard shirts, I'm sporting one. Hey, get it in red, something in red, right? Just so we can wear them on Red Friday as well.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
Awesome.
own this, aren't I? I appreciate it, man.
It's happening.
All right, guys. Hey, if you guys are an organization and you want to get involved with us and what we do, we are Project Roll Call. This is Stronger Together. We are here to build a community, and we would love to sit down with you as well. You can find us projectrollcall.org. Our social media links are there as well. And we are now pretty much just about everywhere, and we're hoping to bring a lot of other organizations with us. So until next month, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you again soon. Please remember, each and every one of you guys matter.